Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Backfire Simsport TV. I'm Clyde Whiting, and tonight we are back in BSTV GT4 TCR Challenge action, Season 6, Round 5 from Homestead Miami. In the booth with me tonight, we have Yaz Not Yaz Samai. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Homestead.
And we also have everybody's favourite Frenchie, Mr. Sam Boozin. Good evening.
I still don't know who that guy is, but good evening, everybody.
Right, guys. So there is no Stacey. She's. Well, I'm not even going to say what she's doing. Not in a public place, anyway. Yaz, I have really no idea about this track whatsoever. I raced it once, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, in a classic IndyCar series. I died within half a lap and therefore never managed to complete a whole lap. Have you done any laps around here?
I haven't. It's one of those, it is one of those oval tracks, in America where they only drive around in circles and they try to make a road track out of it. There's lots of straights. There is, they're going to be on full throttle for quite a bit of this race. The lap is not too long, under a minute and a half. So, there's a lot of action. If the guys can keep in the toe around here, we're going to see some boost bonnets action here, and quite a few corners where some fun things can happen. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see what sort of racing this gives us, because it's not really the sort of track that we're used to in this series. Obviously, we follow the iRacing schedule. We don't set the schedule ourselves. So yeah, it's going to go one way or the other, isn't it? It's either going to be absolutely fantastic or an absolute pile of rubbish. But only time will tell. Last time out, in GT4, Simon Trendle took away the win, with Stefan Goebel in second and Spencer McCarthy in third. In TCR, Stephen Lucky Walker struck again with a win. And please don't adjust your sets. This is what I mean to say. Pete Bingham came second, and Gary Craig came third. So that means, as we're not counting drop scores yet, in GT4, Tyler Newitt leads the way with 608 points. Simon Trendle is in second with 582, and Stefan Goebel is in third with 532. Over to TCR, Stephen Lucky Walker, surprise, surprise, leading the way on 819. His slightly uglier brother, Ryan Walker, is in second with 599, and Russell Cowell is in third with 585. In the team standings, Team Chimera currently lead the way with 1,030 points. Spectre 6 White up there in second with 977, and BSTV Esports Orange in third with 885. So you are up to date with where we are on the standings. We are 8.5 minutes into this qualifying session. Currently, Wobbly Kneecaps leads the way in GT4 from Tyler Newitt and then Stefan Goebel. In the TCR, Stephen Walker leads his ugly brother Ryan Walker, and Gary Craig is currently in provisional third. Ryan, why am I calling Yaz Ryan? I've got Ryan on the brain. Yaz, any surprises for you so far in the qualifying positions?
Stephen Walker at the top. That's a shock on the TCR.
Yeah, he must just be having another lucky session.
Yeah. No, I think that looking at the standings, the season, the GT4s have had. I mean, this is round 5. We've had 4 rounds, and basically 3 different winners. It's only Simon Trindle who's won more than once. So that GT4 class is really wide open for the win. Wobbly looks like he's got quite a bit over Tyler at the moment in first on that quali. So we'll see how that plays out if they can close that gap. On the TCR side, it's a lot closer. I mean, looking at the times between the 2 Walker brothers there, we'll call them brothers. What's that? 0.03 of a second. That's nothing in there. So I think it's gonna be if the times stay like they are now, and those are the times that they're lapping at now. The race is should be jam packed at the front.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, it looked like Simon Trendle was struggling to get a clean lapping because he hadn't set a time. Then he popped it up into second, and Tyler knew it immediately, came back and took second away from him. So fascinating battle at the top of GT4. Just looking down the TCR list, Gary Craig up there, Shane Powell up there. Maybe would have expected Russell Cowell, the way he's been driving recently, to get himself a little bit further up the starting grid. But where are the winners coming from tonight, Yaz?
Well, like I said, I think the winners the winner in the GT4 is still open. It's been. Simon Trindle has won a couple, and then he's had a few incidents in some of the others. Wobbly, we know he's capable, but has a wobble now and again. Tyler's leading the standing, so I mean that's you can never discount him. And Stefan Goebel has shown his class throughout the season thus far and been up there. And then we know Jamie Wilson and Spencer McCarthy are racy fellows. So I don't know what I'm not going to call it in the GT4 field. At all. In the TCRs, the usual suspects at the top there. Like you mentioned, Russell Cowell is we're probably going to see him put in another lap. That will put him a little bit higher. And Shane Powell also in the I'm assuming going to be in the top 5 come the end of this race if it's incident free. But that again, like we say, if it's incident free, and we've seen incidents play out over the season, and it's played out to be quite significant in taking out some of the drivers we thought should be up there. So got to see how this goes.
Yeah, to me that GT4 battle is fascinating. I know we've struggled with the amount of cars sometimes, but Wobbly, it pains me to say, has definitely got the pace. But I think Tyler and Simon have probably got the tactical side down to a T better than Wobbly. And Jamie Wilson, it looks like Jamie's starting to get his mojo back. We've seen him towards the back end of the GT4 grid, but he's currently sitting above Spencer McCarthy, which is no mean feat in itself. We know what a hard charger Spencer is. TCR, you can't really look away from Lucky Walker, can you? I worry for Pete Bingham because there are walls at this place, and he is a bit of a wall magnet. But yeah, I think if Stephen Walker has a problem, I think we're going to have a 3, 4, 5-way battle for the win. Stephen Walker runs away. I think that battle then switches to the minor podium places, and we'll just have to see how and where it plays out. Interestingly, Simon Trendle looks like he's got his eye in now and has got back up into second in GT4, ahead of Tyler Newitt and behind Wobbly Kneecaps.
Yeah, look at that. That's less than a tenth between the 3 of them on the top there. And yeah, like you say, in the TCR field, it's really a case of whether. I mean, last week we saw Stephen Walker having a spin out right at the beginning, and it didn't stop him at all from charging through the field. So it would take something something massive for him to fall down the field. And like you say, it's in a battle for second and third in this field. I think the one thing that the guys have I mean,
Oh, there we
was the,
go. There we go.
well,
It's possible.
it's possible, but I mean, like the guys have all you know they all sort of realize that he is just on another level, and you know, in a different category. So not that they've conceded the season, but they know where their battles lie. So I think, like you say, there's going to be a big one in the next 4 or 5 cars outside of Stephen Walker.
Yeah, and I also think as well, when you have got somebody that is that good, stroke lucky, depending on who you talk to, it spurs on the drivers behind him to get better as well, because they get fed up with him beating them week in, week out.
No, that's for sure. I mean, just looking at that timing there, I mean, a checkered flag has come out now, but Ryan Walker is less than a tenth off him in the quali time. Gary Craig is 2/10 away. So, I mean, they've for them to have kept up and closing that gap, like you say, there's hard work that goes into that, and these guys put in the time to get there.
They certainly do. So, quali is over. Anybody on a lap can still finish it. Some quick good evenings on the chat to Sir Alan Toon, Andrew McKinley, and Marco Loert. For anybody watching that hasn't seen this before, it is a 60-minute race, and there is a forced pit stop because the cars are fuel limited, and it's normally quite a large fuel window, and it does throw up lots of different tactics. You will see some people pitting at the start of the window, some people at the end. It can go absolutely any which way you can. Right, as we wait for the grid, which is going to be with us very, very shortly. Just talk amongst yourselves for a minute. Get yourself a beer. Send me a beer.
Yeah, I think that around here it's going to be quite fuel heavy because they're on full throttle for quite a bit of this track. I mean, it's basically four straights and a bit of corners in between. Here we go with the grid. In the GT4s, we've got wobbly kneecaps up for BSTV Esport Pink in pole. Simon Trendle on the second on the front row of the grid with him for Team Chimera. Tyler Newitt in third for BSTV Esport Orange. Spencer McCarthy in fourth, and now they're moving the grid up. Stefan Goebel in fifth, Jamie Wilson sixth, Chris Needham seventh, and David Nickel for VRS Satellite in eighth.
And into your TCR grid, we have Stephen Lucky Walker for Spectre 6 Purple going off from pole. Ryan Walker, who I believe is BSTV Esports Blue, in second. Gary Craig, BSTV Esports Green, in third. Shane Powell off fourth. Pete Bingham fifth. Carl Hardy 6th, Russell Cowell 7th, Arnaud Chenonnier in 8th, Scott Malcolm in 9th, JB Dejoux in 10th, David Ayres in 11th, and Jason Haddington rounding out your grid in 12th position. So, yeah, it looks like we've got a full formation grid.
Yep, that's a full one. They like to do that in America so that the crowd can see everything. Get a glimpse of everything.
Gives us a chance, doesn't it, to have a good look at the track and maybe spot any pinch points we think might be coming up. As the Ugly Twins are currently on your screen.
2 smiles, big smiles. Tyler starts behind Wobbly. So don't know if they're going to give each other a punt. I see Wobbly's back in the BMW this week again, after a short stint in the Porsche last week.
Yeah, Martin Brennan's not with us tonight because he's enjoying the £10 note freshly sent to him from Pete Bingham for taking Wobbly out.
Some nice scenery around this track here with a
Yeah.
little lake in the middle there. So this is the infill section that they're going through now.
Yeah, that's actually a good overtaking place from what I'm told. If you can stick it round the outside for the left-hander, obviously you've got the inside for the right-hander. Then the GT4 is now coming up to a double right. As Cam? I was going to say Cam shows off his Sam Cam. Yeah, then they're onto another shortish straight.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see some, you say shortish straight, but I think we're gonna see the guys, doing some tricks and saving fuel behind the others, and we're gonna have one of those races. It's gonna be tight on fuel, and I think that fuel strategy is gonna come into play.
Yeah, obviously there will be a fairly hefty braking zone. Then they go back up onto the oval. I believe it is quite a big bump. Okay, off of the oval, back onto the infield section. Nasty couple of turns, kinks here. If you get them wrong, you are disappearing way off into the grass.
There's that pit entry that Pete Bingham will be looking forward to. Sure.
Yeah, and Wobbly's gone.
And yep,
he's gone straight away.
He's off, and he's caught them napping a bit. He's put himself easily in front there. The rest of the field still looks in the same order as which they started. David Nichols has picked up a place over Chris Needham.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he, straight away. Scott Malcolm and David Ayres also up a position in TCR. So into the double right.
Yeah, everybody looks to be clean away, including the TCRs. No incidences yet. No first lap blunders by anybody tonight. So that's good news. And now they seem to be fanning out into a straight line here, just for a little bit, I'm sure. There seems to be a small little gap between Ryan Hawker and Gary Craig in the TCRs in second and third, but the rest of the field all seem to be bunched up.
Into the little S for the first time. Back out onto the NASCAR track. Bit of a 4-car breakaway at the front. Just lost JB. I think he's back now. Tyler Newitt trying to put some pressure on Simon Trendle. And Spencer McCarthy going with them.
Yeah, we've seen Spencer's, his racing pace for all of the season. He's always tried to put he's always wanted to be at the front. He has been a little bit unlucky with some incidents, which has seen him drop off. And look forward to see what he's going to do this evening.
Shane Powell in fourth, going with these first three. And then a smidgen of a gap back to Pete Bingham.
Yeah, I think we've lost JB Dejoux.
I
don't think he's
think
come
you're
back.
right. Yeah, it's literally just come up. He had an incoming packet loss.
That's unfortunate.
Oh, that's David Nichols. He's got some big left-hand damage there.
Oh, what's happened there? I'm sure he's going to get an unsafe pit entry there, but I'm sure he doesn't. He can't be too bothered with that right now.
Oh.
Okay. That's different. That's a hard tire hole there. I'm trying to do his best impression of Knight Rider going on 22 wheels there.
I think that was an 8.6. JB is just connected again. The wheel tether doing its job there. But these guys do get a fast repair.
He's still sitting in
the
the
one.
pits there. I have a feeling he might be serving a penalty for that unsafe.
I think
pit
you
entry
could be
there.
right there, yes. Fast repair or not. Oh no, he's disconnected.
Ah. Ryan Walker's doing well to hold on to the back of Stephen Walker here. That seems to have played out like like we saw in qualifying, where it was just a little bit between them. So he looks to be on pace with Stephen Walker. It's just a case of can he hold up for an hour?
Yeah, Stephen makes very little mistakes, and these guys know that. The one mistake he might make in this race, they've got to be close to him to take advantage of it. Well, I think, to be honest, I think these guys are being sensible, because Gary knows if he challenges Ryan, that's going to let Stephen get away. So at the moment, he seems, quite happy just sitting there and keeping up with Stephen.
Yeah, it's just a matter of settling into this race now. We're only 5 minutes in. There's no. I know that Gary wouldn't. He'll settle into this and not give Ryan too much of a issue right now. Also knowing that being in front here from so early on, and these guys so evenly on pace, it's a much more comfortable place to be, being in the following car, rather than having to watch your mirrors for these guys. So it's going to be a lot more comfortable for Gary just to sit back there for a little while. I'm sure you'll be saving some fuel, and hopefully you could make that up in a pit stop or something of the sort.
Okay, well, I am reliably informed that the pit window is going to open for the GT4s anyway around lap 17 or 18. So it will be interesting to see if anybody tries the undercut. Simon and Wobbly, they do seem to be dropping Tyler and I think it's Spencer, isn't it, behind Tyler?
If you're looking
only
at
slightly, but sorry, yes, go on.
No, I was saying if you are looking at the 17-18 laps stint before fuel, this race is probably going to go to 1.5 minutes a lap. This race is going to go to about 40 laps, so that's 17 or 18 is not half distance. So it's going to be interesting to see how much if anybody's going to try and save some fuel. Are we going to see some two stops? That's also a possibility where guys might just run out before the end if they don't play their cards right here.
Yeah, I've not heard any talk on the chat about it being a two-stopper. But like you say, you never know if somebody does try and pit early to effect the undercut and they get their fuel strategy wrong, then it most certainly would turn into a two-stopper for them.
Yeah, Stefan Goebel's falling off the back of the front four now. He showed some good pace in practice. I think he was top of the pile in practice, but the front few may have been sandbagging a little bit. But Stefan Goebel is dropping off a little bit from the back of that leading front pack, and also there's also a gap between the front two have pulled away a little bit from Tyler Newitt and Spencer McCarthy.
Yeah, and that gap is developing now in TCR. I don't know, are Ryan, Gary and Shane talking to each other? Does Ryan move out the way and let somebody else have a go at reeling in Stephen before he gets too far away?
Yeah, I think they need to just focus on just not making any mistakes and going as quickly as they can, rather than getting into the battle here. Because, like you say, Stephen doesn't, he hardly ever makes mistakes, and if he does, they just need to be up there to capitalize on that. But to be up there, they need to then minimize their own mistakes.
Yeah, I think if I was in Gary's seat, for instance, and I thought I was quicker than Ryan, I would be in Ryan's ear now saying, look, let me get past and I'll try and tow all three of us back up to Stephen. As we said before, the worst thing that could happen for the TCR race is for these three to start battling, because Stephen will be gone.
What's that cap now?
Yeah, I'm just watching
Under
the lap
2 seconds.
times. Just see what he comes up with this time. Last time round, he was the only TCR in the 129s. Yeah, and again, although Ryan Walker got into the 29s, as did Shane Powell. But they're just losing a tenth or two every lap. And we're already a quarter of a way through this race.
Yeah, that went by quickly.
Ooh, Jason Haddington has gone round. Looks like too much entry speed. Yes. Matt Elmore on the chat is saying that Stephen Walker is making a lucky breakaway.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks where you gotta carry as much speed as you can, because there's so much straights and the corners are there's quite a few, just like you said earlier, kinks rather than corners. So you want to be carrying as much speed as you can, but that also does mean you really need to focus on when you're lifting off the pedal and how much brake inputs you're putting in and at what times. So you really can't make any mistakes around here, because like we just saw, it's just easy to spin it or to lose control and just run a little wide, and that's going to cost you.
Yeah, it's all about minimising your braking, isn't it? And it is a very fine line from getting it spot on and getting it wrong.
Yeah, that's it.
I think Simon Trendle is starting to put some pressure on Wobbly. And if they start to battle, that's going to get Tyler Newitt into it. I couldn't quite see from that. No, I thought Spencer was being dropped by Tyler, but he's clearly not. But they all Constantine are up every time they're at a slow corner. That Macca looks fast tonight, Yaz.
Yeah, the Maccas looked fast, since the beginning of the season. It's just, we've just seen it being a little bit more hungry on fuel. That being said, Simon has managed that car amazingly this season. He's already gotten 2 wins under his belt. Had a bit of a hardware breakdown in one of the races where he also put it right up front and on the pace. So he's driven that car very well this season. And yeah, it's on the pace, like you say. It's looking very quick.
There could be a David Ayres slow-mo coming up. He's already done it there, hasn't he?
It looks like a broken wheel there in the front.
Yeah, I think the damage had already happened, hadn't it? Where's he done that? Is it them tyres again? It is.
Yeah, he's cut it a bit too tight as well.
Right, let's get ready for the magic wheel to appear. Oh, no, we're back to this battle. But yeah, so it looks like those tyres are made of concrete.
Yeah, all the tyres in iRacing are made of concrete, eh? This battle is getting feisty here in the front now. The 4, you can't separate them at all. We were just leading the way. Simon Trendle in second, Tyler Newitt third, and our very racist Spencer Mccarthy right on the tail of that. They've broken away quite significantly from Stefan Goebel now, who's about 4.5 seconds behind him, and then Jamie Wilson another further 3 seconds behind him. So this 4 look like it's the 4 of them battling it out for the podium positions now.
Yeah, just been watching Wobbly on our inset camera, and he is spending a lot of time looking in the mirror.
Yep, we're seeing him look up in the mirror all the time there. There's something up in between.
Yeah, sounds on the driver chat like there was a little bit of a battle there between Tyler and Simon. And I think Spencer may have got into the back of Tyler. Stephen Walker has stretched his lead now to over 2 seconds.
Yeah, these 3 that are following him are definitely no slouches with their lap times. I mean, They've been going quickly. It's just that Steven's been luckier and quicker.
Or just luckier.
Whatever's happened between these three GT4s has given Wobbly a bit of a breather for a little while there. He's managed to open up a little bit of a gap between him and the chasing three. These three have been battling hard though, despite being trying to just follow. I mean, we spoke about the three in the TCRs working together. That three in front in the GT4s, they are definitely trying to get to the front. And yeah, so they're going to be fighting throughout this race. These these little bees, these TCRs are going well around here, and they've at least done one of the things which we spoke about, is not making any mistakes. They haven't made any mistakes yet. It's just been a case of being slightly off the pace that has given Steven that bit of a gap.
Yeah, GT4s have now caught the TCR stragglers. Though as yet, Wobbly hasn't managed. Oh, he has now.
Looks like JB's just pulled over the side.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think JB's should be a couple of laps down now. I remember he had a bit of a disconnect a little bit earlier.
Yeah, and he is, but he's still going.
Yep. Yeah, this is it's an hour-long race. There's a lot that can happen. If he keeps on going, he could still pick up 1 or 2 places if anything happens to anybody else. If anybody hits that concrete tire stack that's on the corner there, like we've already seen 2 victims there already this evening. So you need to keep going, and you never know how many more places you could pick up.
No, and he's already picked up 1, because after we saw David Ayres hit those concrete tyres, he's done a rage quit. Me, or is Shane putting some pressure on Gary now, which is allowing a little bit of a gap for Ryan?
It's a small gap, but they still, you really can't separate them. I mean, it's still 7 tenths between Ryan and Gary, so that's still very tight together. It just looks a little bit bigger on screen because of what we've sort of been witnessing over the last while, with him being all nose to tail.
So GT4s are coming up to lap Jason Haddington in the TCR now. But 3 more laps till the pit window opens, so it'll be interesting to see if anybody jumps in as soon as possible to try and do something different and try the undercut.
Yeah, I think based on what we said a little bit earlier, I don't think unless someone is conceded to do a 2-stopper here, I don't think the undercut is going to be in. Too early of an undercut is going to be an option. I think these guys are going to want to run it as far as possible. Because if anybody puts now, if you're saying 17, we've had an incident. I think, have we?
We've had something with Spencer McCarthy. He's all on his lonesome.
Oh, just lost
entry speed again, yeah. And she'll be able to recover from there. No damage.
Yeah, Stefan Goebel has gotten through there, so that's another place that Stefan's picked up.
Oh, Carl Hardy fighting hard against Pete Bingham.
Yeah, we don't talk about what happened last week, but Pete Bingham putting on quite a fight here in the battle for the rest of the place.
Oh!
Oh, that looked untidy. Oh.
I'd like to see that from overhead.
Oh, and yes, happening at the front of the GT4 field as well. Wobbly coming under pressure from Simon Trindle. Oh, he's managed to keep it off those concrete tires there.
Yeah, and I noticed Simon goes up the top of the track straight away almost every lap.
Oh, they're going 3 wide through here. Is what's going to happen? We've got another 2 cars in the pits here. Pete Bingham and Scott Malcolm. I don't know if Pete is pit because he picked up any damage there.
Yeah, Scott Malcolm had an off track and then jumped to the pits.
Ooh, what's happened there? So it's got there was some contact there. There was some hard racing there. Something's happened, but let's see what happened between Pete and Carl here. Carl took the inside.
Yeah, I think that's Pete coming down on him, innit?
Yeah. No.
Oh!
That's what happened to Scott Malcolm.
Yes. It was a wrong place, wrong time for Scott. See, he's not going to see much of this. Pete's obviously out of control, can't do anything there. Yeah, just really unlucky for Scott, that.
Like to see what happened between these two at the front. It looked like there was a little bit of contact between Simon Trindle and Wobbly.
Oh, hello. That was Carl Hardy.
That was close.
Oh, now, who was behind Carl there? Was that Jason Haddington or Arnaud Chenonnier? It's Arnaud. He looked out of control. I could be wrong. It might have just been the angle. No, he was. Yeah.
Yep. Just lost the back on the grass there. It looks like he just played a little bit on the grass, and that threw his back end out and hit Carl.
So this is the pass GT4 lead. Oh no, Wobbly lost it.
Wobbly just
outbraked himself.
Tried to regain control. Simon's done well to avoid him there. Likewise for Tyler.
So we're seeing a few mistakes.
Yeah, and just like we said a little bit earlier, JB's picked up another 2 places now just for staying in this race. We spoke about just having that little bit of perseverance, and he's going to pick up some more points now.
So we're on lap 19. We are we got about just over 3 minutes until the half distance.
Yep. I think we're going to be close to our pit stops here now. The guys are going to want to stretch it just a little bit past the 30-minute mark. Just to be sure they can push all out in the second stint. The last thing they want to be doing is fuel saving towards the end of the race. You know, when they're battling for those last positions, so they'd rather try and eke out as much as they can in this first stint.
Wobbly there, trying the Simon Trendle line.
Yeah, it's quite a harsh incline getting up onto that hill there from coming from that corner up onto the banking of the oval. You can just see the cars bouncing at an angle very quickly. Carl Hardy and Scott Malcolm have both rejoined the race now.
Yeah, surprisingly, Pete is still in the pits. Must have gone for a poo, I reckon.
It's looking like Gary and Ryan are starting to put a little bit of a gap on Shane Powell. As I say, that he'll probably catch up here on the straight, but there just seems to be a little bit of distance between these two and Shane Powell trying to keep up there.
Okay, Wobbly has blinked. He is in the pits.
Arne Shanani has also pulled into the pits in the TCRs. I'm not sure if that's because he's picked up a little bit of damage or if that's and just figured it might be a good idea to pit early.
Well, he would have had damage from the crash with Carl Hardy, wouldn't he?
That's right, yeah. So he can get that repair done and get the fuel in his car. Looks like Wobbly's up in the air to take some tires. I'm assuming it's going to be some right side tires around here. These corners being as fast as they are and then also as tight as they are, they're going to be very harsh on the outside tires and in most of these corners and around here. The outside is the right side, as in not right and wrong, but right and left. So they will be, if they are going to be taking tires in the GT4s, it's going to be right side tires around here.
Yeah, Wobbly has come out at the back of the GT4 field. No major traffic in front of him. Evening to James on the chat. Tyler's in as well. Simon Trendle stays out.
Yeah,
Getting some good fuel mileage out of the Macca.
Yeah, I think that we could see as soon as he passed Wobbly, he had some pace. So I think he was just sitting behind Wobbly there just to save some fuel. You know, just holding back a little bit, but we could see his pace when once he pulled out of from behind there in that little incident that we saw. So I think that he was definitely fuel saving in that first stint, running in second, and now we're going to see him push. And
hey, Tyler's on the move. Will he get out ahead of Wobbly? Certainly looks like it.
looks like he has.
Yeah, he has.
By quite some distance, actually.
Pit times are very, very similar.
It's actually quite a big gap between the two of them, which is quite strange.
Five seconds less in the pits for Tyler.
5 seconds less. Would that 5 seconds account for did Tyler take tires in that pit stop?
I would guess it's less fuel.
Well, the pit time is actually less than a second faster for Tyler, but the pit lane transit is
Oh,
just a bit over 4 seconds, not completely 5 faster than Wobbly.
so it was just a matter of him being quicker in the actual pit lane. That's made the difference.
I would love to know why I can't see that information. I've got a pit lane time for Tyler of 51.95 and Wobbly 52.07.
I have Wobbly of 56.08 for the pit lane time.
Weird.
Yep. I don't know why then.
That is strange.
My data will explain why there's a gap.
Yeah. Simon Trendle in the pits.
Well, this is going to be interesting to see what happens here. He did manage to open up a little bit of a gap between himself and the two chasing. So he has bought himself a second or two at the front. Let's see if he can, how long his pit stop will be and where he then comes out.
Exactly what Tyler didn't want.
Yeah, that being said, there's quite a big gap between Tyler and Wobbly now. I don't know if something's happened to Wobbly anyway, but it's about 4 or 5 seconds gap difference there.
Yeah, Simon Trendle's got out ahead of Tyler.
And Wobbly's got Spencer McCarthy all over him again.
So we're still waiting on these top 4 in TCR to pit.
Yeah, and as we've become used to, it looks like Stephen Orcus checked out again once again at the front. He's got a gap of about 5 and a bit seconds, or 4 and a bit seconds ahead of the rest. But these guys are still battling hard for the rest of the podium. We've seen them attached like this since the beginning of the race, and it hasn't changed.
I'd like to see one of these 3 do something different to the rest with pit stops. As it stands, they are not going anywhere apart from finishing in this order. So try something different.
Yeah, I think that Ryan has been doing all the hard work at the front there, cutting a hole in the air.
Gary's got a good run this time.
Yeah, if anything, the guys following are gonna have a bit of an up when it comes to the pit stops. I have a feeling they're gonna have to, they're gonna be stationed for a little bit shorter than what Ryan needs to be. As Ryan's been
nice clean move there by Gary. Wondering if Shane Powell is in a good position to take over that second spot, bearing in mind he's been sitting behind these 2 for the whole race so far. Possibly, probably, hopefully saving some fuel. Might shorten his pit stop and get the jump over these two. Gary Craig has obviously been able to save fuel where possible as well, whereas Ryan Walker definitely hasn't been able to.
Yeah, that's just exactly what I've been saying. Oh, there's pulled
Shane
in.
Powell has blinked.
Okay, we'll see. I think what's going to happen here is this is what you were saying. Who's going to try and do something different to the others? I think, and I think that his stationary time is definitely going to be a lot less than the other two, based on the fact that he's been sitting in the draft and if he was lifting and coasting and saving some fuel behind him. And yeah, we'll see how this finishes now after the others come in. But I think you're right there. That he should have been saving some fuel, and that's gonna put him should put him on a good strategy.
Yeah, I like to, I go on about it all the time. I like to see a driver try something different. With all due respect to Shane, I don't think he had the pace to get past either Gary or Ryan. So try something different and try and get ahead of him in another way.
Yeah, these guys are so similarly paced. They so on the same pace with each other, such good quality, that it's not just a case of getting past, because if you get past, then they're just going to pile the pressure on behind you. So there's, like you say, it's not easy to get past, and you're going to have to do something different to get that pass done elsewhere, and not have to damage your race by trying to make an overtake and costing you time. So he might be onto something.
Well, we will find out in the next 5 minutes, hopefully.
Yep.
Probably in the driver chat there, just declaring his love for this track.
It looks like Pete Bingham has rejoined the race.
He has, yeah. He had a nearly 11-minute pit stop. So there was definitely food or alcohol involved in that pit stop. Or cats. Okay, so Ryan Walker blinks. So we need to watch Ryan Walker and Shane Powell. See whether Shane's tactic worked.
Shane Powell's coming up is very close to the pit entry now, and it looks like he may have gotten the jump on. It's looking likely that he's going to get the jump on Ryan here. Ryan's moving now.
It's going to be close.
Carrying the pace, he's carrying the speed, and it looks like he's going to just be short. That was close. It almost paid off. You must remember that there was another car between the two of them, so it looks like Shane Powell has scored a little bit of time with that pit stop of his, because he's right on the back of Ryan now. And now we're gonna have to see when Gary comes in, where does he if he can find his way into the middle of the two of them again now.
So
so
Stephen Walker stays out. Gary Craig stays out. Shane Powell is the fastest TCR on track at the moment.
Ryan's managing to put a little bit of space between himself and Shane now. We'll have to see if Shane can keep up with the space for the last 16 and a half minutes of this race.
Well, they've got the GT4 leaders coming up on them now, so that can change things in a hurry.
Yeah, I think this could possibly be a good spot for them to catch them. Hopefully they can make the pass before they get to the end of this. It might be a little bit tight.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're close enough.
Because the next section that comes up after this is a really tight section that they need to stay. Well, it looks like the distance is fine. It doesn't look like there's going to be a problem there. They'll get back onto the start-finish straight, and hopefully they can make that pass on the oval.
The gap between Simon and Tyler is definitely coming down. I've been keeping an eye on that.
It's a tough section to make a pass on.
Yeah.
But both the GT4s are sort of caught up behind a TCR of their own, so equally being disadvantaged, if you want to call it that.
Ooh. Simon's got a nice clear track now. Tyler still needs to get past Ryan.
They'll be talking to each other. They stay in the same stable there, so they'll orchestrate something soon enough. Coming onto the back straight here now, this should be an easy pass. It has cost him a little bit of time, not too much though. You were keeping an eye on that gap there. I think it's moved a little bit in the opposite direction.
Yeah, it's probably up about 4/10 from their closest point. I did see Tyler get it down to about 0.88 of a second. It's now up to 1.4 seconds.
Yeah. Look, we're getting into who's that in the pits?
That is Shane Powell again.
Oh, what's happened to him?
Tyres, yeah. He just clipped those tyres.
Oh, that's unfortunate. He was in for a good. He was on for a good race there.
Yeah.
That's victim number 3. That little tire stack over there. Just a slight.
Yeah, it
tag
just broke the left front, didn't it? Stopped it from turning.
Yeah, that's the 3rd victim of the night. That's so unfortunate. Shane Powell really did well to have orchestrated these pit stops the way he did.
TCR leaders are in.
Ryan Walker chasing these GT4s here, coming around the back end of the track now, and onto the start-finish straight. Stephen Walker's moving, and Gary Craig is just pulled off. It's going to be one of those tight ones. Gary's going to come out in a gaggle of cars here, but it looks like he's managed to pull that pit stop off and keep ahead of the rest of the pack there.
So Shane Powell going past Jason Haddington.
Yeah, he's going to have to fight his way back up now. He's got the pace. We saw that he was with the lead pack, so he's definitely going to make some inroads into the rest of the field. That's one down.
He's only got 12 minutes, though.
Yeah, what's the gap to the next car? Who's the next car on track? Is Arno Chenanier.
He is nearly half a lap behind Arno.
No, that's unfortunate for Shane Powell. That little mistake has cost him a chance on the podium tonight. He was doing so well up until that point.
Spencer McCarthy still putting pressure on wobbly kneecaps. Tyler starting to eke that gap back to Simon Trendle as well. It's hovering around the 1 second mark now. Wobbly is currently bribing Stephen Walker to get out of the way. Ryan Walker doesn't seem to have anything for Gary Craig at the moment. I don't know what you think, Yaz, but to me it looks like Tyler is making his time up on braking.
Yeah, Tyler's definitely getting closer to Simon. We saw Simon going very long in his strategy up front there, whether he is. Whether he's short fueled a little bit or whether, he's just going flat out now also needs to be seen. We've seen Simon doing very well on his fueling strategies through this season. We become used to Tyler being the one to work those things out to a T. Simon has sort of matched him. Looking at it now, that gap opened up significantly.
Tyler lost a massive amount there, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know if he hit that banking a little bit. I don't know if he hit that banking a bit wrong there. Something's happened. And that gap is just opening up now with the traffic that he finds himself in. It'll be interesting to see if it was just the banking that he hit awkwardly that has cost him so much time, and he's still dropping back a little bit.
Will Wobbly have a wobble under the pressure?
Yeah, this is about the time when we gonna see Spencer going hard, and they also closing the gap to Tyler, who seems to I don't know what's happened there. If he's maybe picked up a little bit of damage on his front wing that's maybe slowing him down a little bit. It just looked like an awkward bounce onto the banking a couple of laps ago, and he's dropped off the back of Simon. There also has been quite a bit of traffic that he's needed to get through, but it's just been too significant of a drop off of time between the two of them.
And Ryan Walker certainly hasn't given up on second place.
Yeah, we've got 6 minutes to go. We've got about 4 laps to go. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to do 41, maybe 42. I don't know if 42 laps will throw anybody's fuel out the window.
Interesting to see those different lines coming onto the banking there. I think you mentioned it a bit earlier when we saw Simon going high, and there we saw Wobbly going high and Spencer staying low. On that, coming onto the banking of the start finish straight. And Wobbly's it's just about caught up to Tyler now, and I wonder if we're gonna see some action in the last 5 minutes here. If they're gonna battle it out for the highest tip on the podium. It looks like Simon Trendle is checked out now. He's got quite a gap between him. It's gonna take something really sinister for him to lose that lead now.
I think there's a battle royale coming between these three.
We mustn't forget that Spencer had a bit of an incident, a bit of a spin a little bit earlier. So I mean, he's definitely showing some good pace to be back up at the back of this pack.
Yeah, he would have been in second and clear, wouldn't he?
Yeah. So he's definitely got the pace to be up there with these guys, and like I say, with the spin, he's all the way back on the tail of these guys. It just shows that he's I say this every week, that he's very racy. It's just a case of him putting that hour race together, which he's struggled with thus far. But I don't think it's going to be long before we're going to see him win one of these days.
Yeah, and as we've said a couple of times already in our broadcasts, we're used to Spencer in the TCR. We're not quite sure on how much experience he's got in these GT4s. If he's absolutely new to him this season, the other guys better be looking in their mirrors all the time, because he's only going to get quicker.
Well, he does definitely. While he's racing now, he does make the guys look in their mirrors, because he's all over the back of them, always feisty, always trying to challenge for that position. He's one of those guys that you're always looking. You just need to be sure of where he is versus where you are. He just doesn't give up.
So inside the last 3 minutes. Wobbly's on that high line again.
Yeah, I think this is probably going to be the second last lap. Looking at the timing there, might be a little bit tight to get 3 in, but it's going to be close. And look at this. This is they all over each other now. And yeah, Tyler's going to have to really work hard to hold on to the second position here.
Yeah, and Wobbly is obviously in the worst place because he's attacking and defending. So one misplace attack, and he's going to lose a position and not gain a position. I think Tyler is desperate for Spencer to get alongside Wobbly to slow the pair of them down. And you're right, we are going to get one more lap. These guys are about to take the white flag.
Yeah, Wobbly's got a run got a good run there on Tyler. Going to try and do the in out.
Yeah, I think Tyler went defensive early there.
Ooh.
Here we go.
There we go. Spencer's all over the back of Wobbly now. They just need to keep it clean for this last few corners.
Wobbly's got the upper hand here with 2 right-hand turns.
Yeah, it looks like this little battle is played out well for Tyler. These two are fighting hard here, and then yep, Spencer up the inside. They need to leave each other room here.
Quite. Yeah, he had to park it on the apex.
There's a few more corners to go here, and Wobbly's under full attack from Spencer. Looks like he's managed to do what Spencer's dropped back a little bit and just settled into that.
So Simon Trendle is going to take the win in GT4. Tyler Newitt second, Wobbly Kneecaps third, Spencer McCarthy in fourth. Stefan Goebel is going to come home in fifth. And Lucky Walker is going to take away another TCR win. Gary Craig looks like he's going to hold on to second over Ryan Walker. Russell Cowell a long way. Oh, Mr. Hardy.
Oops.
I think he had... Was that pit entry?
That is the pit entry there.
Yeah, I was going to say, so he hasn't finished.
That was a good race we saw towards the end there at the GT4s. Wobbly has managed to hang on to that third place under tremendous pressure from Spencer McCarthy. We thought he was going to challenge for second place over Tyler, but he had to be looking behind him to make sure he held on to that podium.
Yeah, like I say, it just they all were on the same piece of track, weren't they, at the end there? Which is always good, always exciting. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that. Let's just save the replay just in case. So yeah, a tactical battle there, Yaz. You know, we see drivers trying different things, but you know, ultimately, you know, we in GT4 we saw Tyler putting pressure on Simon. Then, like you say, he had that, should we say, unconventional entry onto the banking, which took that away, but gave Wobbly and Spencer the chance to get up with him. And then in TCR, Stephen Walker got lucky again. and then we saw, a great fight with Gary Craig, Ryan Walker, and Shane Powell until he had his incident with the concrete tyres.
Yeah, I mean, we don't forget Wobbly led the beginning of this race for just about half of the race. So he was up there up until there was he had a slight little error that let Simon through. And then it was just a case of Simon managing that gap. I mean, even with the pit stops, we saw them, Simon comfortably coming out in front. Tyler tried to challenge him at certain points, but then, like you said, that little awkward bump onto the back straight cost him a little bit. In the TCR as well, yeah, Stephen Walker checked out early. Gary Craig and Ryan Walker had a good battle with Shane, as you said. And Gary just managed to go longer, stayed in the slipstream behind Ryan in the tow, managed to save fuel, stayed out for longer, and that's what got him to the front or onto the second step of the podium. So yeah, it was a really good race all around from the guys. And yeah, the race results are up there. The GT4s, we saw Simon Trendle, our eventual winner for Team Chimera. Tyler Newitt finishing in second for BSTV Esport Orange. A really good race there. Wobbly Kneecaps, BSTV Esport Pink, defending like hell at the end there from Spencer McCarthy, who finished behind him for Alpine Stars Geodesic. Stefan Goebel, another clean, uneventful race, if you could call it that. Just kept it clean for a 5th place finish. Jamie Wilson in 6th for Team Chimera, Chris Needham in 7th for RWC Racing Black, and then David Nichols, who did not finish, had that incident with the tyre stack very early on in the race. On the TCR side, Stephen Walker, Spectre 6 Purple, came away with the win again. 7 seconds ahead of Gary Craig for BSTV Esport Green, Ryan Hawker for BSTV Esport Blue, Russell Cowell, Spectre 6 White, in 4th place. Arne Shananya, RWC Racing White, a good 5th place for him. Shane Powell was up there for the challenge until he had a bit of an incident with that tyre stack as well. Finished in 2nd in the end. Jason Haddington for RWC Racing White in 7th. Carl Hardy, very eventful race, lots of incidents, still finishing 8th. Scott Malcolm also had a little bit of a unfortunate, was in the wrong place at the wrong time when he T-boned Pete Bingham after he spun. He finished in 9th. JB Dejoux had a bit of a hardware malfunction, but still kept at it and finished 10th. Pete Bingham in 11th after his spin and being taken out by becoming Scott Malcolm, and then David is also that tyre stack that caught him out quite early on in the race.
Yeah, sorry about that. My Discord froze up, so I had to shut it down and start it again. Right, let's get these interviews underway, and I am going to be different this week. JB Dejoux, welcome to the booth.
Well, thank you. How are you?
We're all good. Now, I've brought you in first because I always see you sitting in the waiting room, and then by the time we get round to you, you've disappeared. So we get you in first. We see you had an unfortunate disconnect at the start there that sort of ruined your race before it got started.
It did, and that's something I generally don't have a problem with. It's happened to me only once before, so... But I jumped back in and see what I could do. So,
well, it's always worth it. You did get a couple of positions back with other cars being unfortunate. But we haven't had a chance to speak to you. How are you finding the car? How are you finding the competition? And how are you finding the league in general?
Well, I love the car, very much so. The competition is way above my head, but so my goal is not to get in anybody's way and mess them up, and then race with those who are my ability. And I think I'm doing okay. I had a real dumb move, which is normal for me in front of Wobbly, but he was able to get around. And these are just a great bunch of guys.
Well, it doesn't count if you do anything to wobbly because we never see it, so don't worry about hitting wobbly. You actually get paid to do it, so that's usually a good thing. But the league in general, I'm not. Are you Canadian?
No, I'm American. Live in Michigan.
Ah, so you're a South Canadian.
Yeah, that's right.
So obviously racing in the afternoon for you doesn't interfere with your afternoon nap or anything like that, does it?
No, I don't work a regular work schedule, so I've been able to make every race and the practices, and I imagine along the road I'm going to be stuck out on the road, and I won't be able to make one, but we'll just take it as it comes. But I definitely set aside time for this because this is some of the most fun I've had in iRacing.
Excellent. We do like to hear that. And, it's a pleasure to have you in the league as well. So before we let you go, any shout outs you want to give?
Yes, to you and everybody in the booth and for putting this on, all the other racers. They've been very welcome from the moment I came in, and I can't thank anymore. And supposedly my brother is tuning in for the first time from Ohio on this one. So hello to him if he's there.
Hello to JB's brother. Well, like I said, it's a pleasure to have you in the league. Great to finally get to talk to you. And things can only get better.
I like the way you think. Thank you very much.
Thank you, JB Deju. Okay, let's get some winners in before they start crying, Yaz. Let's bring in GT4 winner Simon Trendle for you, Yaz.
Simon Trendle, another win for you. That's three. That's the third one for the season. Another very good performance out there. What was it like in that lead battle for most of the race? It was the four of you going hard back and forward.
Yeah. I never really tried to do anything there. I was just sort of keeping the pace, and then I got lucky with the traffic in the end. So I wasn't really trying to overtake Wobbly. I was just trying to see how the side-by-side stuff worked, and I got a good idea because we did a full lap, I think, side-by-side, which was fun. But then I think Wobbly made a mistake on the infield corner, which is really easy to do. I don't know about the BMW, but the McLaren's deadly through there. And yeah, I just sort of rolled around from there. I obviously stayed out longer. Don't know whether that was better or not, but the traffic worked out for me, so that was quite lucky.
Yep. You also got lucky, like usual Stephen Walker. That is trademarked, eh? So you can't call yourself lucky around here.
Oh yeah, that's trademarked, isn't it? Sorry.
Yeah. We saw that you said there was a little bit of a mistake from Wobbly, which led you through there. And then obviously you went significantly longer than the others, just a couple of laps longer than the others to the pit stop. But once you got to the front, you didn't seem. You seem quite comfortable at the front there and keeping the gap between yourself and the chasing. I think it was Tyler Newitt which was chasing you for most of the second half of the race. You kept that gap quite comfortable. Was there any pressure from behind? How did you feel managing that gap?
I was okay managing the gap until the last three laps where the McLaren just falls off a cliff, apparently. I was struggling the last three laps. The front did not want to grip in the corner. But the problem is the way my car was set up, it doesn't want to rotate on the brake. It wants to rotate more on the brakes than I would like it to when it does that. So I can't compensate. So I just fell backwards like a stone on those last three laps. So Tyler was only a second or so behind me going into that, and he was 3 seconds, 3 laps earlier. So good timing for the white flag, I think.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, we saw the traffic playing quite a role in the battle. And you managed, like you say, to get lucky with that, with the traffic. In the end, luck aside, you managed to put yourself in the top step of the podium again. That's win number 3 of the season. And yeah, how's it feeling to continue winning against these guys?
It's a great field, so winning is. Obviously means something, which is quite nice. Yeah, I think I've beat my win count from last season, so doing better this season in a car that I didn't like before. So I'll take this. This is going quite well. If I finish second for the rest of the season, then so be it.
That's good. Congratulations again on another good win. Any shout-outs before we let you go this evening?
Yeah, you guys all for broadcasting. Everyone in GT4 and TCR for turning up. Jamie for making me look good. And yeah, that's it.
Well done again. And look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Okay, so let's bring in our TCR winner, Stephen Lucky Walker. Welcome back to the booth.
Thank you very much, guys.
And this week's excuse is...
I don't really have one. I just tried to go as fast as I could for as long as I could to break that toe, because I'm glad I got pole. I really wanted that because it's so difficult to overtake around here. So that was I put in the most amount of effort into that, and then just tried to go, as fast as I could for as long as I could. It was either crash it or win it, to be honest.
Yeah, we saw, it looked quite tasty at the start because your ugly brother Ryan was going with you. He was dragging Gary Craig and Shane Powell as well. So the four of you got a breakaway, and we were sort of thinking, oh, hang on a minute, perhaps they've got something for Lucky Pants this week. But yeah, it wasn't to be.
Yeah, to be honest, I thought it'd be like that for the entire race. Because I was on cold tyres, I was trying to not make a mistake. Because it's really easy to do. Obviously, you're trying to turn and brake at the same time for a couple of these corners. So I was trying to just take it easy and let the tyres warm up, and then move the brake bias back throughout the first 5, 6, 7 laps. Just so I'm then used to the car, how it is. And then I think they just had a tiny little bit of I think Gary got up the inside of Ryan, and it just cost him about half a second, and I just managed to get the toe, so it was a little bit easier to try and pull away. But it wasn't easy. No, I had to. Yeah, I was really pushing at the start of the race, first half of the race, just to get that gap. So I thought again they'd be saving fuel. So I was like, I need to think about that as well. So it was just, it was good fun. It's a bit. The track's not great for overtaking, but it's a good drive, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it certainly does. I'm looking forward to iRacing implementing driver ballast. So we'll see how lucky you are then. Anyway, another good win. Any shout outs you want to give before we let you go?
Yeah, just the rest of the team. Russ, obviously, I think came fourth, so that was good. Unlucky for Shane, hit them tyre. And then the last chicane, you guys, obviously, for doing the broadcasting, my brother for watching, and just, thanks. Appreciate it.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on the win, and we look forward to seeing how lucky you are at Sebring next time out.
Thank you very much. I will try my best.
I'm sure you will. Stephen Walker, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, let's bring in, for you, Yaz, let's bring in the Wobbler.
We were wobbly kneecaps. That was some race you had there. You were leading, you were second, you were third. You were all over the place. But it looked like you had fun.
I did have fun.
How did that play out for you?
Pretty much as I expected. The pace of the BMW over one lap was faster than the McLarens and the Porsches. And the first 20 minutes, the car was very fun to drive. It was fast. It was reactive. And I did the official yesterday, and I Tyler beat me then because his tires held on better. Yeah, basically that's what happened this race as well.
We saw you leading for most of the start there, and then it looked like you made a little bit of a mistake, which let Simon through. Yep. And then it was just a matter of we saw your inset picture. You were looking in front of you, you were looking behind you, you were looking in the mirrors a lot of the time, and then again at the end when you had in that last lap there that looked very it was actually an action-packed last lap. Where at one point you looked like you were going to challenge Tyler for second place, but then had to defend from Spencer. The back and forward, watching you in that little battle that you guys found yourself in. How much pressure did you feel yourself under?
Yeah, it was really fun. I knew I was at the end. I had the best pace overall, I think. compared to the others. But it's hard to overtake here, and then I saw my opportunity by just keep on throwing it on the oval, which didn't break my suspension, but it did for the other cars. Yeah, I was trying to get a good run on Tyler, and I told Tyler after the race, well, if it wasn't for you, then I probably would have just sent it. Yeah, with teammates, and I don't want to kill him. I mean, we had loads of incidents with netcode and stuff like that, so we're always a little bit more cautious around each other. So I figured that to back out, and then I tried a desperate move going on the outside in turn 3, which was stupid because it made Spencer come close, and I had to hold him off. And yeah, I was really glad that I could park it on the apex of turn 8. So
You really did park it there. It's like
Yeah.
you pulled up the handbrake on that corner there. We saw that.
Yeah.
Well, once again, you've got another podium, another third place. So that's a good finish there. I know you were probably wanting to challenge for the win there, but I'm sure you'd appreciate the third place in this, in this quality field. Is there anybody you'd like to say a thank you to before you go?
You guys for setting up the broadcast. It's good fun, putting a lot of time in it, and organizing the league. The other drivers, the other teammates, I mean, Gary and Ryan really did a good job on the third and second, and yeah, Tyler for being an asshole because he's did I say that on stream? I said that on stream. Yeah, that's fine. No, Tyler for being there, and especially Simon and Spencer, which gave me a hell of a good race. It was really fun to drive.
Well, we look forward to seeing you next week at Sebring.
Looking forward to that.
Done. Yeah, well done on your podium again.
Yeah, thanks. Cheers.
Okay, so wobbly kneecaps there. So let's bring in our second place TCR driver, Gary Craig. Welcome to the booth.
Hello, good evening.
Hello. From the booth, Lucky Pants Walker in the lead. His ugly brother Ryan behind him. Then you. Then Shane. Little bit of a breakaway between the four of you. As we said to Stephen, we thought, hello, this might be on this week. And then he just crept away again, didn't he?
He's lucky that he's about a couple of tenths a lap faster, to be fair. It's where his luck is.
Yeah.
Drives away with it.
Is there anything on the schedule that, this season that you look at and go, do you know what? I am mustard round there. That is going to be the track that I beat him on.
I pretty much hate every track on the schedule this season. It's a horrible season. I'm barely even bothering with the officials. There's a couple of tracks at the very end that are okay, but like we've got two coming up next, which are Catalonia and Spa, and I detest both of those tracks. So I just do not like them. Bathurst's quite good fun. I remember having fun there, and there's one other. I think we got Road Atlanta. That's quite good fun, but it's not a good schedule this season. So no. I'm just waiting for next season.
Okay, so your battle with Ryan and Shane before his mishap with the concrete tyres, that could have gone any way, couldn't it? We was watching you guys and your differing pit strategies and wondering how it was all going to pan out. Did you have a plan at the start that you stuck to, or did you have to change it on the fly?
I tend to want to just run the car dry because it is quicker on low fuel, and then especially after Ryan pitted a little bit early. Obviously, we're in Discord together, and he mentioned like that wobbly Tyler and everyone was coming up behind him, and I knew I had another couple of laps of fuel, so I just waited until they were passed before I pitted as late as I possibly could, which was just right because all the GT4s were passed, so I didn't have to lose time getting out of the way of them. Apart from on the apex with Spencer on my way out of the pits, but no, that was just staying out as late as I can, so allowing the GT4s to get through, so I didn't have to give up any time there. And I came out like a second or so ahead of Ryan, but in the draft there, couldn't get away from him. Unfortunate with Shane, like as you mentioned, he was right there. That's 2 weeks in a row he's been bang on the pace, and I know he'll be pretty fuming that twice he's kind of not ended up in a good position. But he's really quick this season, so it's great to have him up there in the fight. And again, behind Ryan, I had one chance where I had a really good drive out of the hairpin, so I took it, and that was it. It's such a hard track to overtake that took the one chance I had and rolled with it.
Yeah, and obviously Pete back to his normal finishing position.
Well, it's P2 Pete, but is it P2 from the back Pete this week? Oh no,
well,
P2 from the back of TCR. So yeah, that suits. That does go as well.
unless you just add the two ones together and make it two.
Yep, could be that.
Could be that, couldn't it? Anyway, Gary, congratulations on your second place. Any shout outs you want to give before we let you go?
The usual, you guys, as ever, for putting on the broadcast in the league, and just everyone that watches and everyone that races. It's, even though the track wasn't particularly fun to overtake and race on, it's still it's great to be able to race within half a second of a bunch of guys and trust everyone and just have good fun racing. So, well done everyone, and yeah, hopefully next week's a better track for battling on.
It's Sebring next week, isn't it? So
That's good.
One of my favourites. Anyway, nice to hear from you as usual, Gary, and we'll see you next time out.
Catch you next time.
Okay, let's have a quick look down the list. So next up for you, Yaz, is our final GT4 driver, 4th place, Spencer McCarthy.
Hey guys, I was having a nice chat with the other guys, and you pulled me away.
Yeah, we realised, so that's why we dragged you in.
Oh, thanks, mate.
It was before Tyler jumped in there and bored you all. We've actually done you a favour.
That is a good favour, yeah. Thanks very much.
Well, Spencer McCarthy, another racy 4th place.
Another 4th place.
Another racy 4th place, I'll call it. You were up there with the pace. You had a bit of an incident and then still caught back up to the leaders. We've seen some good pace from you this season. Just a matter of putting that all together and putting yourself on the podium.
Yeah, finding a bit more consistency. I mean, I must admit, I hadn't turned a lap until 24 minutes into the practice session. So it was a very quick learning curve. Which, I'm kind of in the league to have some fun, so I don't really want to spend hours doing practice during the week. So that's my excuse, and I'm going to stick to it. But I'm getting more and more consistent with the car. Obviously, the GT4 is fairly new to me this season in the way of doing much more than just a little bit of fun. But yeah, getting there. I think it's interesting how the cars are different. It's nice that we've got a mix, BMW. McLaren and the Porsche, so it's kind of I find that I'm starting to come back later in the race, and it's a bit similar to the TCR sometimes. When if you can drive the TCR efficiently, then the tyres are kind of there still at the end, and it's pretty similar in the GT4. So, and I think the Porsche's got pretty good tyres towards the end, and I've not had to change them yet, to be honest. So, and an hour's no problem with them, and the balance in the car's quite good. So I think it's one of those cars that I think I've started to learn that I can just bide my time and sort of try and be there at the end a bit rather than be a bit sort of gung-ho, which I think probably the start of the season I was a bit more aggressive at the starts. But yes, it's so far so good.
Yep. We've definitely seen some good racing and some, like you say, aggressive racing earlier on in the season. I was saying a little bit earlier in the race, you've always shown the pace. It's just a matter of putting that 60 minutes together. Again tonight, we saw a little bit of a mistake. Last week we saw a little bit of a mistake, and it's just about eliminating those mistakes, and we should see you on the top of the podium because you've got the pace to be up there.
I hope so. I hope I'll get one this year or this season. It'd be good.
Yep. Tell me some. Next week we've got Sebring, nice and bumpy. Sebring. You looking forward to that race?
Yeah, see, I've not turned a lap yet in the GT4 around there, but if it is as bumpy as, say, sort of, maybe not so much as Nordschleife, but yeah, the Porsche was a real pogo around there. So we'll see if I can keep the visibility going, because it was one of those ones where the track's bouncing around in front of you all over the place. So if I can get the car hooked up, I've kind of settled on a setup. I've not really changed it much between the races. So really that was kind of my plan, just to try and get used to the car as it is. So yeah, we'll see. I'll do some laps and see how I go. There might be a bit of opportunity to slipstream at Sebring, which might be quite good. I'll just try and get the last corner nailed. If that's kind of one of the corners that I think if you can do good around there, then you've got to run down into the first corner. So yeah, I'll try and do some practice before next time.
Yeah, well, another good race from you, and we look forward to seeing more of you. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before you go tonight?
just wobbly for being annoying and always talking on the radio in the game.
I was listening to the driver chat, and he was definitely trying to bore you to death.
He was. I mean, even trying to get cars to move out of his way and get in
offer
my
them
way
money.
and offer them money. Yeah, that was fun. But no, it's good. It's good banter.
Well, well done again for a good finish, a good race, for putting on a show for us, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Cheers, guys. Take it easy.
So Spencer McCarthy there. So let's bring in our third place TCR driver, the better looking of the Walker brothers. Welcome, Ryan Walker.
Hey, Clyde.
How are you after that?
Well, I'm sweating buckets, but I feel it was a good race. That
it was, I'll say exactly the same as what I said to Lucky Pants Walker and Gary Craig. You four went away at the start, and you was keeping up with Stephen, and we thought, hello, we've got a race on here, and then he just manages to eke out a couple of tenths, doesn't he, every lap, and then before you know it, he's a second and a half ahead, and it must be frustrating sometimes.
I think it is frustrating in a way, but Stephen, he's been racing this car for quite some time, so he's always bound to be quick in it, and just trying to find that last bit of pace to try and keep up with him is just a little bit annoying. But I'm still in the top three in the championship, so I can't complain with that. And say a third place finish tonight after the nightmare at VIR last week, because it's a good way to bounce back.
Yeah, definitely, and I know of the personal troubles you've had over the last 18 months, and it's great to see you back in a car and in a car regularly, and VIR aside, running up the top regularly as well. So you're certainly on the right track, shall we say, to getting that win and maybe challenging your ugly brother somewhere.
It would be nice, but I think it's just a matter of just doing practice with this car, doing more practice rather. I think the only thing, as I was saying to Russell before I popped in here, was it seems to be breaking it. I'm struggling a little bit with this car, maybe just losing a few attempts that way, but it's still, I'm enjoying the racing, and to get a few, I'm not sure how many podiums I've had this season so far, but to get more than I expected anyways, that's pretty much aimed, achieved, if you like.
Yeah, definitely. And also, just going back to tonight's race, a fantastic battle with Gary and Shane and obviously Stephen for a little while. And that's what you guys turn up for, isn't it? Week in, week out. Yeah,
absolutely, and that's why I love racing in this league and the BSTV community in general, just because it's so friendly. Everyone's willing to help each other, and it's you still get a bit of competitiveness, but you get that in anything. Yeah, it's very true. But like I say, it's really good to see you doing well. Any shout outs you want to give before we let you go? Firstly, thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast as always. Secondly, the BSTV esports team for having me and helping me with this car, and just for the last we can have it during the race, and just thanks to everyone else for making it a fun community. Excellent. Well, congratulations on your podium, and we'll see you next time out. Thanks, Cliff. Okay, so we've got one more interview for you, Yaz, and that is Mr. Simon Cowell, Russell Cowell.
Russell Crowe, what's it? Hi, welcome to the booth, Russell. Well done on that fourth place finish. It was a eventful race for you. How did it go?
It was a struggle, but I wanted to keep consistent, basically. And as I've said it before, it's kind of been key for me to finish in the top 5, basically, through the races I've done.
Well, that's another top 5 finish this week. Did you find yourself in any good battles this week? That's what it's about. We've seen the sort of top 3, top 4 run away at the front. The past couple of races, but we do know that the rest of the guys still find themselves in battles with the other guys through the season. Who have you picked out to be your rivals this season?
It's between 2 people. I had a very close race with Scott, obviously around Monza, and it was back and forth throughout that race. But Carl's quite. I'm trying to keep up with Carl. Carl's my target to beat around most tracks. Unfortunately, I kind of beat him in a different way tonight when I hit him again, hit him a 3rd time around the same corner. Which I felt quite bad about, but it was Carl's usually my target to beat. So,
well, we won't blame you. He's quite big, so it's very difficult to miss. But you've been doing well and putting in consistent performances, and like you say, it's just about keeping it clean while your other Spec 6 partner runs away with it at the front. You looking forward to Sebring next week?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing if I can do what I usually do in the GTs around turn 1, which is blindside someone to hit that first corner. Yep. I know it sounds nasty, but I like getting really close to the wall, and it usually ends up someone in tears behind me because I'm that close to it that they don't see that the wall's as far out as it is. Or I hit the wall and it destroys my race and theirs.
Well, I hope it doesn't destroy yours, and you can have a good hour race next week as well. Before you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to, say thank you to this week?
Yeah, you guys as always, the community, because they're all nice. Like everyone gets along. It's quite good to see, even though there's like a battle for the race on. My teammates, obviously, well done to Stephen for winning it, and luckily to Shane for not getting that 4th place that he deserved around here because he had pure place this week. And Matt for watching, even though he's not he's only spectating and not actually competing this season.
Spectating for Spectre. Well, we look forward to seeing you next week. Well done on another good race this weekend. This week, and 4th place finish. Well done.
Cheers. See you next week, guys.
Cheers.
Okay, guys, so that's the interviews over. We've seen a fantastic race tonight. We've had some really good interviews. Now it's time to put ourselves on the spot with our driver of the meeting. And as we've had so many interviews, it means Sam has managed to have a kip and think about his driver of the meeting. So we're going to go to him first.
Well, he's already on screen. Simon Trundle.
Oh, I see. We're back to picking winners again. Look out.
I pick who I want. You do what you want, I do what I want.
Yaz, your driver of the meeting.
Are we going to pick winners? Are we going to pick Stephen Walker? Never. Now, I think tonight I want to go with Spencer Mccarthy. Yes, he had a bit of an incident, but that drive back to the front of the pack again and then battling for podium position. Great race from Spencer. He's my pick for tonight.
Yeah, good call. And I love a perennial trier. My vote this week is going to go to the man that had the unfortunate disconnect right at the start, but rather than throwing his toys out of the pram and going to have a beer, he reconnected a couple of laps down, carried on and finished and got a couple of places in the bag. So my vote is going to go to JB Dejoux. So that is our voting over, folks. Coming up in the next 7 days on BSTV, we are back in V8 ESC action on Saturday with rounds 18 and 19 from the very, very tricky Long Beach street circuit. That's going to be absolutely fantastic. On Sunday, we are back in ITCR action with rounds 22, 23 and 24 from the Brands Hatch match Indy circuit. And as we've already said, this time next week we are back in GT4 TCR action from Sebring. Big thanks to Sam, big thanks to Yaz, a pair of them joining me in the booth tonight. Big thanks to all of our drivers, everybody that joins in on the chat. Make sure you drop us a like on this video, you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you follow us on Facebook so you never miss any of our action. I shall say goodnight, let the guys say goodnight, and then we'll close the broadcast. So good night, everybody, and thanks for watching.
Good night, everybody. See you next week.
And good night, everybody. See you next time around.